It's the month of love. So, whether right now you are the person who is calling in your life partner, maybe you're looking at your partner and wondering if they really are your life partner, or you've been in a relationship for a long time, no matter where you are in your relationship status, the most important relationship you can have is with yourself. And we're talking about self-love today. I'm Stacey Berger, transformational coach in both life and business. And what I know to be true is the most important relationship that you will ever have with anyone is the relationship with yourself. Think about it. It is the longest relationship that you will ever have. People will come and go from your life. You are the one constant. And so that relationship with self is the most important relationship. And it's one that it's important that we develop, we nurture, we expand, we grow. Today, we're talking about how do you deepen that relationship with yourself? How do you expand your self-love? So that not only do you have this wonderful relationship with yourself, but what you'll see is that it expands the relationships that you have with other people. When we have a good relationship with ourselves, when we practice self-love, when we practice self-acceptance, we feel differently about ourselves. We show up in our lives differently. If you can imagine when you're with somebody that you love, you admire, you adore, you treat them a certain way. You treat them differently than somebody that you loathe, that you resent. And if you can imagine, it's the same thing with yourself. If you're resenting yourself, if you're loathing yourself, if you're beating yourself up, you're going to treat yourself differently. You're going to show up in your life differently than when you really have this deep self-respect, self-love, admiration, and confidence. How you relate to yourself impacts how you relate and how you show up in the world. And how we show up in the world gets reflected back to us in our results, not only in our relationship, but it impacts our vocation, how we do in our careers. It impacts our finances. It impacts our health. Really everything in our lives is impacted how we show up. And so that self-love, self-acceptance, self-confidence really impacts every quadrant of your life. If you can imagine, you are basically a walking affirmation. That inner dialogue and how you're talking to yourself, how you're treating yourself impacts every aspect of your body. What are affirmations? Affirmations are something that we are affirming or we're telling ourselves over and over and over again. We're constantly affirming something to ourselves. We're affirming oftentimes at a subconscious level. We don't even understand or we're not even aware of what we're thinking on an ongoing basis. Oftentimes what we're affirming is a subconscious message that we adopted at some point in our lives. It could be a critical person in your life that constantly told you, you can't do this, you're not good enough. You're constantly speaking negatively about a body part, about a behavior or characteristic that you have. And if that's the inner dialogue, you are affirming that to yourself every single day. And we know based on research and science that what we tell ourselves, that affirmation, those words matter. They impact us really at a cellular level. If you are constantly beating yourself up, speaking negatively about yourself, your body is listening. Your cells are listening and they're responding to that energy. If you can imagine those cells hearing all the time, I hate myself. I don't like myself. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I act. And you're affirming that over and over and over again. That's impacting you at a cellular level. That's going to impact your health, your self-confidence, everything about you. So affirmations work. And we can either use that as criticism, we're affirming criticism, or we can use that to affirm self-love and self-confidence. We can use affirmations or that self-talk to completely shift our self-image, what we think about ourselves, what we're telling ourselves, which ultimately creates different outer results. So affirmations, we're affirming to ourselves all the time. What we're talking about today is how do I use affirmations and that self-talk more consciously and in service of creating a life that I would love, in service of creating new results. And so I wanted to offer you today some self-love affirmations, things that you can start saying to yourself on a more consistent, regular basis to really shift the way that you're talking to yourself. And when we change the way we talk to ourselves, we change the way we feel about ourselves. And when we change the way we feel about ourselves, we start acting and behaving differently, not only towards ourselves, but also in the world. This self-love, self-confidence really is the greatest key to success. These affirmations for self-love really, truly can be a game changer for you. Here's what I encourage you to do is to listen to these affirmations for self-love and pick one or two of them. You're not going to do all of them. Usually we can hang on to one or two at a time. Pick one or two that really resonates with you. And chances are you don't believe it right now. It's not something that you're like, oh yeah, I absolutely believe that about myself. But there's a resonance with that affirmation where you go, if I believed that, if I really felt that at a deeper level, it would impact how I'm feeling about myself, how I'm treating myself, how I'm presenting myself. And it would help me to experience self-love and therefore greater love in all areas of my life. This list certainly isn't exhaustive, but it's a great place to start. So listen to the one that really sparks something within you. I am easy to love. Easy for yourself to love, easy for yourself to appreciate, easy for other people to love and appreciate you. Imagine what it would look like in your life if you made it easier to love yourself, that you didn't make loving yourself conditional based on a number on the scale or a size of piece of clothing or the approval of other people. What if you were willing to love yourself right where you are right now, right in this moment? I am easy to love. I am in harmony and balance in my life. I am in harmony and balance in my life. How does that feel for you? What if you really knew that you were in the right and perfect place right here, right now? What if you knew you were in the right and perfect place right here, right now? What if you are right where you are meant to be? I am in harmony and balance in my life. And even if you're not feeling it right now, it starts in the words, it starts in the thought, it starts in the affirmation. And as we affirm and think it, our lives begin to reflect it. I am grateful to be the person I am. I am grateful to be the person I am. Are you carrying past regret, past resentment? I wish I would have. I wish I could have. Are you wishing that your results were different? Are you wishing that your history or your past were different? What if you knew that every moment in your life up until this moment, it's what brought you here, that there's perfection in all of it? What if you could cast a kind glance to your history and to your current conditions and just say thank you? And be in a state of gratitude for where you are right now. I am grateful to be the person I am. Practice that level of gratitude for yourself, for your conditions, for your circumstances right where you are. Gratitude for self. Gratitude is just one of the greatest calibrations of energy that we can do. I deserve a peaceful and loving life. I deserve a peaceful and loving life. Do you believe that you deserve a life that you love? We often push away our good because at a subconscious level, we don't believe that we deserve abundance. We don't deserve love. We don't deserve the good. Practice self-deserving. You couldn't be any more deserving of a life you love. You couldn't be any more deserving than you are in this moment. The very fact that you are breathing, that your eyes open today means that you deserve to live a life that you love. Practice that affirmation to increase your feeling of self-deserving. I am a positive person that attracts positive things into my life. I am a positive person that attracts positive things into my life. Positivity, gratitude, appreciation, abundance. Claim that for yourself. And we know that whatever we put out, we attract back to us. And so practice that affirming of being a positive person. And as I'm more positive, as I practice more self-love, I will attract more of that positivity back into my life. I accept myself unconditionally. This can be a tricky one for most people. I accept myself unconditionally. Where do you attach your acceptance of self based on outer conditions, outer circumstances, rather than fully embodying and accepting yourself right where you are, right here, right now? That is true self-acceptance. That is true self-love, seeing the perfection and the divinity within every cell of your body, within every feature, within every characteristic. What would it look like to fully accept yourself unconditionally? That doesn't mean we don't want to improve or we don't have areas that we would like to grow and expand. But when we're growing from this place of unconditional love, where that love isn't attached to an outer result, a condition, and we practice that level of self-care, self-acceptance, self-love, we become a magnet for greater growth and ultimately just this feeling of more freedom and fulfillment. I accept myself unconditionally. And even if you don't believe it right away, we start again with the words and affirming that, which will produce and shift the way that we feel and we see ourselves. The last affirmation that I would offer you today is, I love myself wholly and completely. Imagine wrapping yourself right now in just this beautiful, warm, loving hug and just saying to yourself, I love you. I love you. I accept you. I love you wholly and completely. Notice how that feels. Notice how your body responds to that. And at first, we might reject it a little bit. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I really believe that. But practicing wrapping that warm hug, that warm embrace of love around yourself every single day. I love myself wholly and completely. And what I find to be really helpful in that is to imagine the trillions of cells in your body right now, trillions of cells that are acting for your highest good. Think about the body functions that are happening, your breath. You don't even have to think about breathing, and you're breathing right now, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys, the way your bone structure is holding you up, the amount of things that your hands allowed you to do this day. Think about the functionality of your body to begin to see the brilliance of that, to look past maybe the physical features and how you've perceived yourself before, and that wholly and completely to see yourself, to see this temple that you've been gifted with to really live your best life with. I love myself wholly and completely goes much deeper and is a profound sense of self-love, self-respect. And if you truly appreciated those trillions of cells, all of the different body parts that are at work right now to allow you to live into your vision, consider living from that place more today. Just 1% more, 2% more, 10% more. Your relationship with yourself is the longest relationship that you will ever have. What would it look like to practice more self-love today? To help you prioritize a daily act of self-love, we have a really special challenge going on right now. It's a 28-day mindset challenge. These are 5-minute activities each day that are designed to really support you in creating a mindset of self-love, of growth, of self-acceptance. So I encourage you to join us in this 28-day mindset challenge. It's free to join, but really 5 minutes a day of daily self-love and an act of self-love. And imagine where you could be as far as your self-image, your level of self-acceptance and self-love. Where could you be 28 days from now by just practicing a daily act of self-love? check the link in the description to join us. And I hope to see you there. And take one or two of these affirmations, put it on your bathroom mirror, put it on your screenshot on your phone, and multiple times a day, affirm self-love. And it absolutely will begin to change the way you see yourself, and therefore how you see the world and how the world responds to you. I'm Stacey Berger. Here is To You Living a Life You Love.